welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com Broiler Chicken Show. Trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Broiler Chicken Show with Brian, the ultimate broiler chicken. Bark, 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 bark. Hey, how's it going? I never know what the hell I'm going to say in these damn videos, but how can I make a positive difference in your people's lives today? That's the most important objective of these videos. And seeing if we can make a positive difference in this world. Let's see. I see it says preview. Is this thing actually doing its thing? Hey, there it goes. Awesome. Looks good. A Baja. Look at that. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big hearts from Baja. Not quite sure what that means, but hopefully that's a good sign. Hello, DMAC. Let's go. Smash those likes, folks. Nobody ever does that. You know what I noticed, and I thought it was kind of interesting, is that the actual number of subscribers to this TRI channel, it hasn't moved an inch, which seems a little bit suspicious, doesn't it? Like in 3 years, it hasn't changed at all. Something's not right about that. But anyway. Hello, Nure, my German bodybuilder. Actually, be interesting to see what you look like now. Are you still a bodybuilder? I think last time I saw Nure was when we were in Portugal in 2021. I think it was 2020, somewhere in there. All right, through all that insanity, the stupid sickness. Jim and Liz, great to see you. I'm pretty darn impressed with you two. You know that? I'm not quite sure which one of the tag team we have on the call here today, but I was skeptical. But you guys have shown up day in, day out. I'm rather impressed with you. Mind you, you've got like a really awesome trader next door, who I suppose helps you along a bit, but great to see you guys. Archery Connection. I've seen you on the site a million times. I sure would love to know people's actual names, but I think you've been around a while. Hello, Brian and TRI with a big wave. Hey, there's Jim and Liz's next door neighbor, Adam. Adam's so awesome to hang around with in the day trader room. 13 EMA acting as support. And so consistent. I absolutely love that. Constantine, of course, we see you around. Hello, sir. Baja, there's all those hearts. Jay says, hello. Hi, everyone. Hi, Jay. Hope you're having a great day. Viz. Couple hand waves, I guess. Hello, Viv. San Antonio Real Estate says, woohoo! I don't know whether Brian's enough to get a woohoo out of, but hey, if I can make some sort of positive difference in your life, then it's all worth it. Big brother doesn't like you. Yeah, I suppose, giving away all the secrets, eh? And the worst part about it is I see every single day constant sellouts. This video is sponsored by blah 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 blah. Better get your monkey suit on and no swears and mind your P's and Q's. I mean, it looks like that's what YouTube is basically turning into. Oh well. So yeah, something doesn't smell right about all that anyway. But as you all know, my adventure here on this particular channel will be coming to an end relatively soon. So on to bigger and better things, I suppose. JB says, hi, everyone. Hi, JB. Great to see you. Alt's looking mighty good. Yeah, well, this indicator that I built a million years ago, it works so nicely. Interesting to see how the history of this indicator after I'm dead. But anyway, the indicator works very, very well. So not really a big surprise. When the indicator tells you that the market is washed out, it's time for you to start paying attention. That is, if you want to make money being long or short the market. If you're just a spectator, then I can completely understand. I would also say, too, that we're coming into the very end of this cycle. So, what sadly is going to happen here is the market is probably going to go parabolic. It's probably going to be euphoric. And we're going to start hearing, well, you must be long crypto and you must own crypto. And if you don't own crypto, you're a fool and an idiot and blah, 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 all that nonsense. So get ready, if anything, get ready for the big circle jerk orgy coming in here into October. If you did prepare yourself and you did get yourself all set up, you should be laughing right now. And if anything, as these things pump, you should be paying yourself and taking profits and enjoying the fruits of your labors. But anyway, sure you probably heard that out the yin yang plenty of times with the Beamish. So I was indeed big house. Hey, are you going to talk about your what the hell was that? The donut stock, right? Man, that thing's come crashing back down. But actually, I kind of like the Trump coin in here, believe it or not. Just from a trader's perspective, I have absolutely no respect for the individual. And if anything, I would warn you all be very, very leery about anything that comes out of that guy's mouth. But having said that, I'm here to make money from trading. And ironically enough, if you just follow the basic principles, force yourself to buy down markets, force yourself to sell up markets. You'd be surprised how easy it is to make money in this game over the long run. Don't take too much risk on any one trade. I mean, the rules never change. That's the irony of it all, right? The rules never change. And yet, and I always make a joke. Anybody watching this for the first time, for God's sakes, this, different. If we hear this 4-word expression, it actually means that the bull market is over. And don't anybody type it. I don't want to hear it out of anybody's mouth. I don't want to. Hey, Nick here in the video call here with us. He put the initials on there. I'll let you get away with that. But you can actually start to eat. Careful, Mr. Big House. It's stunning how cliche this damn game is. So anyway, enjoy the rally, enjoy the fruits of your labors. If you play the game correctly, this should be like the most wonderful time of the year. And actually, I guess you could say it's the most wonderful time of the 4 years, right? Because that's the way this silly game goes. Oh my goodness, what this blow off top's actually going to look like? God, who knows? It's going to be chaotic. I'll tell you that much by crackers. Suppose we can do just a quick overview of the corn. And, the good part about working with the Beamish here is the message never changes. It's always the same. If anything, for you to, you should all have your journals out. And anytime the Beamish drops a nugget of wisdom, been at this game for 40 bloody years, you might want to write something down, especially if I say, hey, you might want to write this down. It's remarkable. I mean, all you got to do is just know the rules and follow the rules. If you know the rules and follow the rules, then actually making money at this game is so easy. It's just nobody follows the rules. And I guess the hardest part of this is following the rules means, I don't know whether you're aware or not, but does the public generally make money at this game called investing? I think you all know the answer to that. Do the institutions generally make money playing this game? It's no accident Goldman Sachs is Goldman Sachs. And the simple principle of institutional investing is you buy down markets. you sell up markets. We even have the institutional fingerprint concept that I included in the educational program for you to understand where institutions are most active. Yes, if you follow the rules, it's relatively easy to make money at this game, but the rules are extremely difficult, especially for us emotionally triggered humans. And what you have to understand, public, when you're listening to this video, what you absolutely must understand is that the media is not your friend. The media is actually owned by the institutional people, and they use the media to trigger your emotional response mechanism. I actually heard a funny, you ever watch the Y Files on YouTube? I love that guy's channel. And he was digging into the Bilderbergs or Bilderbrands or something like that, that group that's supposed to be the Anunnaki and all the 1% and all that crap, the Illuminati. And one of the guys there said, actually, this is specifically done to enslave humanity, make sure that they go to work and pay these taxes, which is just nothing more than interest payments to the Rothschilds and the banksters, money masters, and all that bullshit. Just basically our slavery of our existence. But I remember specifically in that little piece, they said that one of their priorities is to trigger the sort of, I don't know whether it's the reptilian part of your brain or whatever the hell it is, but there's a very specific emotional response mechanism, and they target that. They actually target it, whether it be envy of people that have material goods that you don't have. Obviously sexual stuff and, trying to trigger your, reproductive sort of hormones and stuff to get you to have to, buy fancy cars and, the wigs and stuff to make you look better and stuff. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So you just need to understand that the system is actually built to manipulate you. I don't know whether manipulate's the right word, but trigger you to act emotionally. And of course, at the time, the message that comes across will be, "Oh, you sold? Hey, that's understandable. Look at all the uncertainty." Or you panic bought. Well, the consensus was that we were all going to the moon. So the irony of it all is that you will be encouraged to follow the crowd. You will be encouraged to act like the herd. And if you want to win at this game, that is the exact opposite thing to do. Exact opposite. Will any of you get that message here today? I don't know. Sure hope so. I do see there's quite a few people that watch this video after the fact. So, if anything, maybe do me a favor, see if you could well, I think they're hair plugs. The days of wigs are gone, but I think they all have hair plugs and transplants and stuff now. Because I don't think their reptilian skulls actually grow hair. They got to somehow fit in with the crowd here, right? And for whatever it's worth, I am follically challenged, but I'm not going to come out and lie to you with, plugs and wigs and fancy. I mean, you see me, I'm just an open book. I wear a nice, comfortable shirt, and I just, talk to you like a one human to another. No bullshit, right? No big sales pitch. In fact, actually, there was some guy, I put a tweet out the other day. And some guys like, "Oh yeah, you're just bullshit, squiggly lines, whatever." And I was like, I'm not here to sell you. I'm here to help you. If you don't get any value out of the stuff that I put out for free and that I don't actually ask for anything in return, well, that's fine. I don't care. But I'm not trying to sell you anything. I've got enough money of my own that I have a hard enough time just making sure my money's invested correctly, let alone having to shill you on buying some product or service. I don't care. It's no big deal. That's why I've been doing these free videos here now. Jesus, this is like 15 years now. I think I've been doing these free weekend videos for everybody. And the irony of it all is that the number of subscribers on the channel, it hasn't moved an inch in like the past 5 years. But oh well. If anything, what I really hope is after I'm gone, my time's over. If I'm really really lucky, we actually, kind of like JC, we build a following of, hey, there used to be this guy around who used to actually do a whole bunch of stuff for free, and he never really had any agenda, and he'd always say the same thing, and he always spoke the truth. I'm not going to be nearly as politically correct as others, and there's no way my soul could hold a candle to JC. But I have the same motivation. I'm here to try and help you, and I don't ask for anything in return. So anyway, put that in your pipe and smoke it. All right. So you as wise, shrewd investors, you have to force yourself to buy down markets. Actually, this market of note this week is a perfect example of this. About 2 or 3 months ago, you couldn't give altcoins away, right? You even heard people, sage experts in these investing fields say, there will be no altcoin season. It's only Bitcoin. And God, I mean, I've been in this space for 15 years. Every single damn cycle, it's always the same. But this was a cute one. The irony of it all is, I don't even really know the actual backstory of these things. I just, force myself when the market's absolutely puking out. This one was really cool because it actually gave you a nice, simple, measured move. Of course, Brian loves his 78.6 fibs. So anytime I can sneak my way in lower than 80% of the range, I'll do that every day of the week. But we also had a nice measured move here to paint a downside objective. Even had some chaos theory to throw in here. Did I grab the exact bottom? No, I didn't. But this is the beauty part about this little old lady approach is all we really want to do is just force ourselves that when you see things like 70, 80, even 90% corrections, you're officially allowed to start going and nibbling and building a bag, as they say in this crypto space. So that's exactly what I did here. It's not really rocket science. In fact, I think I got filled on this thing on this buy back here in February, January, February, March area. I had to sit there for 6 months doing absolutely nothing. I suppose had I had some more powder dry, I probably would have gone and added on that cute little W. I might have even added in here. But just as long as you don't risk more than 5% of whatever capital it is that you're working with, you just let your money work. And imagine this. Can you imagine going to Wall Street or anywhere in the world and saying, yeah, I invested something and in 6 months' time, I doubled my money? I mean, and this is consistent. I've done this year after year after year. I think I told you all. And somebody had suggested I go to Jane Street. I've never heard of them before. I Googled them. Obviously, it was just some, cardboard, faceboard kind of message from the site. But they said that, you might even want to think about seeing if they would fund you. I mean, it's stunning how when I just force myself to put myself on this dollar cost averaging, sort of buying in, ideally, we don't want to take more than 5% of risk on stake, but I would actually suggest that you just do like little individual nibbles that are like maybe 1% or 0.5%. And then that way you can just keep adding over time. And this space is so volatile, and venture capital by definition is so volatile that you get any kind of dead cat bounce, technical bounce, and boom, you can get yourself a free position really, really easily. So it's just business as usual. Nothing really out of the ordinary here. And I think I said before, I like the idea of like building just a sheet of, and now, with Twitter, I mean, everything's there. There's all the banging out doubles tweets that I've put out over the years, and just go to Wall Street and say, hey, you want me to make you some money? It's incredible how easy it is. Well, and that's just interesting. Jim here says venture crooks. You could look at it as venture crooks, but you do need to understand the principle of venture capital. Technically, these assets don't have any earnings. And it's really interesting in crypto space. I don't think any of them earn any money at all. I'm not even quite sure. They have their foundations and those kind of things. But very few of them are actually turning a profit. But anyway, the point being that you can, and it's perfectly legit, Jim, if you take the attitude that these guys are all shysters, because they are. I mean, 99% of these people think of, you want to think about what typical venture capital is. What's our buddy's name? Oh God, I've even forgotten his name now. The guy that was in bed with SBF. Chris, you remember his name off the top of your head? Friedberg or something like that. Anyway, if anybody, yeah, it was something like that. I don't know whether that's Capitals too. Brian Sirius. I think it was maybe we better put like and it kind of, isn't that funny? I can't even remember. Wow, I have a total mind block on that. But anyway, this guy here, and this clown. This guy here, he ran like a total scam on online poker sites, and like really were just terrible criminal behavior. And he doesn't even think twice about it. He just doesn't give a shit. He steals your money. Well, too bad. Kind of like the Chinese. Hey, you had your money stolen from you? You're the sucker, not the thief, not the criminal. This guy goes, ha, I stole your money. What are you going to do about it? Talk to my lawyers. So you're right. You're absolutely right, Jim. This place is rife with, I think that's the right word, not sure, with scams, with shills, with false promises, with outright fraud. And I wouldn't fault you a moment if you had said, you know what, I don't want to get involved in this space. These guys are all crooks. I'm just going to leave this alone. I would not fault you for a moment. Now, having said that, I think probably the biggest value that I give all of you, especially when I talk, I pride myself on being very honest and very forthright with you. Forthright? So, geez, I'm having a hard time with my words today. Anyway, you can, the old adage, the ostrich, bury your head in the sand, just ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist. And that's fine. I mean, God, there's tons of people that never get involved in this space. And frankly, I don't blame them. At the same time, too, understanding the basic principles of technical analysis and understanding that principles, the media is going to be working against you because they are owned by the institutional players. Institutions need buy down markets. So that means for them to get filled in size, millions, billions, trillions, whatever number you want to use, that means by definition, they have to get millions, billions, trillions of sellers to sell to them at those low prices. That's just reality. That is the way the game works. And the Beamish is going to highlight that and point it out, if you will. So you understand reality, right? You understand the truth of this. That's the whole point of this exercise. And as I said there, Jim, if you don't want to participate, nobody's holding a gun to your head. But at the same time, too, if you understand the principles of this and you understand the insane volatility, how does an asset like this go from $1.30, $1.40 per whatever the fuck this thing is, all the way down to 22 cents in like less than 6 months? Like, how does that even happen? That should be illegal, I would think. And then conversely, how does this thing go from like 30 cents all the way up to $1.40 in what is that? That's like 2 months. And this was all the orgy around you know who getting elected. And you know who getting elected is the ultimate personification of all of this. Think of Trump University. What a fucking con job that was. And yet, nobody. It's so sad listening to people that went to Trump University expecting that they were actually going to get some sort of accredited education, and then them coming out the backside going, I just totally wasted my money, and that was a total waste of time. But as long as he's in power in this space, this is business as usual. So the question ultimately is, do you want to not participate, or do you want to participate and just do it correctly? And maybe hold your nose while you're buying these pieces of you know what, because they stink. It's up to you. Yeah, I mean, like did Jim Liz say, you could get right. The problem here is that the public comes in and buys this stuff up here, and that's just not playing the game correctly. It's just that simple. You got to learn how to play the game correctly. So I don't know whether you're a longtime viewer, Jim. I totally respect your attitude that these guys are crooks, because yeah, they are. But when in Rome, do as the Romans do, right? We want to make money, and that's at the end of the day, isn't that what this is all about? I want to see my bank account balance go up so I can buy all those nice, pretty things. Well, you got to learn how to play the game correctly. And then, ironically enough, people actually get angry at me when I post things like, oh, sell halves on doubles, right? Banging out doubles and all that kind of talk. And then they see the market roll over and then they blame me for it. But really, all I'm doing is I'm just following very simple, time tested money management principles. And I was taught this principle. Let's see, can I actually give you the year I was taught it? I want to say, can't remember whether it was before the dot-com boom or after. It was right around there. I'm going to say late 90s, by an old VSC floor broker. I mean, talk about the ultimate scam assets. There ain't a hell of a lot different between the Vancouver Stock Exchange stocks and these altcoin cryptocurrencies. They're almost the same. So I don't know whether that was a clear message or not, but what I'm just simply trying to say here, Jim, is you can participate or you can say, screw it, I don't want to have anything to do with these. But if you're going to participate in this, you got to know the rules and you got to know how to behave. And ironically enough, actually, I don't see anybody on the internet teaching people how to actually behave properly in this space. I've been in this space 15 years. I have yet to see anybody else do what I do in this space, which I do find really odd. Anyway, so I'm just running my small business of trading, just doing what it is that I do. Account balance goes up. I don't have any preconceived notions of returns. All I really want to do is just make damn sure I don't lose money. Some cycles, unfortunately, and you've seen the Benner cycle charts and those kind of things. Some cycles, if we're into a euphoric peak, then you can expect some absolutely insane price movements. This, unfortunately, 26, it's not one of those euphoric peaks. This is like a mid-cycle peak. So I do think that the the degree of public euphoria, public coming in and just taking prices to absolutely astronomical levels, like in the dot-com boom, and I suppose you could argue that I guess around my generational cycle peak, 2017, 2018, but also you could argue to a certain degree, 2020, 21. I think that was an artificial market because of the sickness and the way that the central planners just said, fuck it, here, you have all the money you want. We're going to turn the printing presses on. We just got to make damn sure that this world keeps growing, right? Because of all the mountain of debt. Thank you, Rothschild's assholes. Um, and it's just getting worse. It's getting worse and worse and worse. Don't think the situation's getting any better. It's getting worse by the day. And it is interesting to see that we don't have a lack of crises here. This actually should be a relatively friendly cycle, but man, there's still a lot of disasters out there in the world. And I do think to a certain degree that there are forces at work in this world that are trying to undermine um, sort of natural cycles. It sure feels like that. You know, the Great Reset and all that bullshit. I mean, if economics actually acted correctly, we should go through an absolutely horrific, massive correction in the economy to stabilize and bring supply and demand back into check, and that's just not happening. The central planners just won't allow it to happen, which means that the only solution is hyperinflation, and you all have to get used to the fact that you have to add a zero onto the end of your price tags. And interestingly enough, I used to joke when I first started this education program in 2015 or so. I used to buy a Subway sandwich in 1996, 1997, 1998 for lunch every day. $2.75, 6-inch tuna on cheese. Every day I had that for lunch. And now that Subway sandwich in my country is actually approaching that tenfold increase in price. So they did it. They pulled it off. They great resetted us all. Welcome to your new reality. And it's just the way the world is. So, you know, you can take that back seat and just sort of take it up the butt and try and go and get a job and try and demand higher wages. You can see that the process that we're in right now, usually prices move first, and then since labor is 2/3 the cost of all business, the labor demanding higher wages to offset those higher costs is the demand pull part of the inflation equation. And it just goes cost push, demand pull, cost push, demand pull. And I hate to say it, but 27, 28 probably is going to be another massive inflationary wave. There's a whole bunch of reasons, which we can't get into in this short show. Anybody on the site knows full well what I'm talking about. Just go and watch my previous broadcasts. There's plenty of reference to all that. So this actually is a relatively friendly part of the cycle. Hey, look at that. I got a fun little video game running in the background. Completely forgot that that was running. Yeah, let's put that away. I'll need that on. It's probably draining resources too. Go away. There we go. What did I want to show you? Good thing no pictures of naked ladies, eh? You always get into trouble with that stuff. What do I want to show you? I got completely. It should have been this one. No, not that one. Which one is it? I guess that's this one over here. So, you know, if you do like to follow cycles, I live by cycles. I think this crypto 4-year cycle study is actually a fantastic roadmap. You never really know exactly where these peaks come in. I can absolutely guarantee you that this is the last Trump presidency. And I remember when we broke through 10,000, that was supposed to be the hallmark, the benchmark that everybody and their brother was waiting for. That crypto is officially arriving when it hit 10,000. So what did this silly thing go and do? In the last 2 weeks of the cycle, it went and almost doubled again from that 10,000 mark, all the way up to the better part of 20,000. So I think it's super dangerous to get into the business of predicting what the hell these blow off tops look like. Really, just if you understand these fib time cycles, then throw on your 1.382s and just understand that when we start getting around this area, you need to be thinking about, well, what does the future now hold? And this is a major failing of the human species, and I think the powers that be, of course, undermine us, because I think the bigger players in this world do see this same study, do understand these 4-year money cycles. And as I said earlier, the media is owned by them. And I think that the media actually helps the narrative to get the public to come in and FOMO buy and all that kind of talk. And what I do find fascinating is the quote unquote experts that you see who come into these financial news channels and give their recommendations and stuff like that. They're always very short term oriented. Well, we think in the next 3 to 6 months. Well, maybe think about, like, what is the world going to look like a year from now, 2 years from now? And I mean, I remember barking at all of you, get your shit together back through this window. And yet, we had almost no views, and, making grandiose predictions that Bitcoin will 5x, 10x, whatever from these lows. People thought I was crazy. But I tell you, this study is absolute gold. So unfortunately, here is a 1.382. We're coming into it. So actually, I'm not surprised to, now the latest thing in every cycle, there's always something new. But I guess this latest cycle is these crypto treasuries, right? But think about it this way. If somebody's going to go and buy hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins and all that, does it really make sense that they've announced that they bought and they're loaded up and the price then goes 10x? Not likely. It might double, triple, who knows, from these levels. Well, I could see that. That wouldn't surprise me. Remember, during Trump presidencies, you might find that this damn Bitcoin doubles in just the last 2 weeks of the cycle. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But I'm leery about thinking about this is the new, this is the beginning of a new cycle versus are we getting kind of nosebleedy here? We maybe need to take a year or two and sort of get all the newly minted experts. Remember that Raoul Paul guy? This last cycle, of course, he just went, I mean, just absolutely all in on Ethereum and all that. And you must own crypto and all that kind of stuff, and kind of got humiliated. I don't want to see that from any of you. Don't get humiliated. Just understand, if you're looking at a market that's gone straight up, for God's sakes, you cannot buy. I do understand there are the traders of the world, and of course, traders got to trade, right? And all that kind of talk. Fine. But if anything, the trader should understand that, oh boy, this cycle's getting a bit old. I better not get married to these ideas. And they always say, this is a fantastic line for your journals. Many a short-term trade turn into a long-term investment. We used to always use that line in the brokerage community. So kind of like here, somebody's like, hey, this is breaking out to new highs. I'm going to go and buy. And oh, shitty. Now I'm sitting on an asset that's collapsed in price. Now what do? I know, nothing. A short-term trade. I was just looking for a 10% pop here. Has now turned into a long-term investment. It's remarkable how consistent that is. So don't be one of those people, okay? Please, please, please. Hugs and kisses in advance. exactly where the hell the top comes in on this, I don't have any idea. I'm not limiting my expectations, but at the same time, too, I think it's not a good idea to start predicting where markets are going to go. That's sort of another one of those, Brian's just speaking the truth to you here. Um, I don't think people who make predictions in the market, uh, unless they have a crystal ball, and I haven't seen too many crystal balls around that actually work, they're just as clueless as everybody else. And, whatever the future is, remarkably enough, um, the actual story will be more outlandish, more over the top, more ridiculous than anything we could possibly script. The way that SBF blew himself up there last cycle, right? You couldn't have predicted that. Last cycle, he was like literally dining with royalty. And then all of a sudden, next week, he's now in jail. Way to go. And you can't predict this stuff. You have no clue how this stuff is going to play itself out. So that's why, for my audience, for my pupilhood, here, this is a good example. Just forcing myself to come in and just do nibbling. I bought 78.6 on this one. Is that ENA? Remember, I had said a moment ago, God, I wish I had gone in and grabbed some more down at the bottom. Well, this one I did. So there's a really good example of just, markets collapse down at the bottom end of its range. Well, I'll start going and acquiring. Do not break Brian's second rule of investing, though. You don't want to, well, I'll take a shot on this thing, see how it goes. You don't want that to become like a portfolio ender. And the irony of it all is if, in simplest terms, if I had 5% maximum exposure on any one name, then by definition, if I had 20 positions on 5% of 100%, and one of them doubles in price, like that little ENA, well, technically, that basically offsets if, say, this thing just goes right off the board. So I'll think of it that way as well. Anyway, I mean, I'm not here to pitch you on the little old lady strategy, but it is a really, really easy way to play the market. And especially on these absolutely insanely volatile venture capital names. All right, I don't know where all that went, but I hope you enjoyed the rant. Back to Bitcoin. Last week, kind of were worried a little bit because Fractal came in here right off of this long-term trend line. But it does appear in hindsight that that was a bit of a trap. Notice our weekly moving averages here. And actually at this point over here, I was starting to get a little worried for the trend, but they lined up and came back onto the bull side here smartly. There, ironically enough, I would actually in the near term expect Adam Sayer line, 13 EMA acting as support, and then 13 EMA acts as resistance. So we're back above there. 13 EMA should act as support. And, 13 EMA should act as support. And 13 EMA is above the 30 SMA. So trend is still up. I don't think there's any real technical damage that's been done here. And you can see last week's low held. This week's technically this bar is basically what's called an inside bar. So this is one of the situations. It's a little bit bigger of a range than I would prefer. I definitely like my inside bars to be nice and small, nice little harami kind of idea. But I think you can make the argument if we finish the weekend here, who knows what the hell this is going to look like by the time I get back from Liam. But if we do finish here, this makes this really easy. This is just like TA 101. This is one of my bull bear battle lines. So quite simply, if, and there's a big if, I have no idea how this is going to play out, but just watch your charts. Anybody can do this. If this low high is the prevailing high when we print the new weekly candle, well, it's really simple. You see the high there, it's 119, 154. So anybody who does play inside bars, all you do is you just buy on stop. 119. What was that number I said? 119154. And this is the traders I'm speaking to. Little old lady investors, you just stay the hell away from this shit. What am I doing here? Trying to talk and chew gum at the same time. Walk and chew gum. Anyway, so really, really simple. That's an inside bar. That's technically a buy signal if we trip that up. Weekly charts. So you got to understand there's the weekly range. It's a huge range. And then conversely, and I don't know what the hell is going to happen here. I mean, nobody does, but you can make the argument if we now tick through that low, the inside bar failed, that becomes trend continuation setup. So we can just simply say that low there is 111,919. Is that what that says? 111,919. Nope. Dyslexia for the win. Well, that looks about right. So it's sell on stop, one tick below 119. So that's how I see the market setting itself up right now. Inside bar. And as I said earlier, sometimes the market actually makes it really easy for us to actually see this. You could also look at this from a lower time perspective, and it looks something like that. So now I'm talking to the traders, right? So all you little old ladies, close your eyes for the next few minutes. As we had said, the market was breaking down. We saw this fractal come in on the weekly charts, and it was a big, oh God, what the hell's going to happen now? And then you notice following the breakdown, the market goes in and puts in actually a really pretty W. I don't want to go down. I actually want to go up. And this was an interesting one because we actually front run a bullish setup here, hoping that this little double bottom would translate into a breakout. Never came in. Failed. Then we did it again. Okay, is this thing going to bottom in? Nope, failed. This one actually, ironically enough, you could have front run the bot there from 115,732. You have three higher lows, same old, nothing really changes here. I actually didn't see this setup in this chart, and I think I can show you this until a little bit later. So if anything, this should be a really good example. You don't have to buy the actual breakout there. You can see this thing jumped up, it went sideways, and I was like, holy shit, that's a bullish bot. So I was just like, screw it, I got to go in there and buy the bot level, and so I did. Pretty straightforward. Not really rocket science. But at the same time, too, I'm not speaking to the investors of the audience. I'm speaking to the traders. And I always tell people, and the reason why, I have a very specific reason why these trades are as small as they are. Again, I'm speaking to you to try and teach you how to do this, right? I'm not. And interesting. Is the YouTube thing still going there, Chris? Do you see anything changed? All right, maybe it's trying to play catch up now. Okay. And I would suggest to all of you, just get good at trading small, because your personal anxiety level will go up exponentially the more and more risk that you're taking. So practice, just follow my lead. This is like what? It's like maybe about an $80 risk for the potential to make 240 if you sell everything here, and another 240 if you happen to force yourself to sell all the way up top here. But just get into the habit of trading small. Get really good at it. And then, just let the money compound. But you'd be surprised how many people come in and, they'll throw down. God, I talked to a guy who threw down millions of dollars into a trade. And I'm like, how long have you been at this Bitcoin game? He's like, oh, not that long. And I'm like, what are you? No, I mean, I'm trying not to be insulting, but I don't think that that's the appropriate approach. Right, exactly, Jim and Liz. Right, just practice makes perfect, and just keep practicing. Oh, these principles never change. Jim and Liz, is this the same bot setup that I probably introduced to you a couple of years ago when I first met you? I think so. I mean, nothing's changed here. And keep in mind, these are setups that I like to use, and they speak really well to me as an individual participant in the market. You might find that, Brian, I know you're an ENFJ and you're very calm and you're very, you're also a Tauran, which means you want a lot of structure and you're absolutely obsessed with rules and stuff. I'm not like that. So maybe the bot setup doesn't appeal to you. And half of the job that I have to do when I work with people individually is to try and figure out what setups actually appeal to you. Maybe you like trading with moving averages. Maybe you like using gap theory. Maybe you like using WD GANs, square of nine, octagons. I mean, there's a million different ways to skin this cat. This happens to be a setup that works very, very well for me. And you can see it's just business as usual. Nothing special going on here at all. Remember, if you learn the rules of how to play this and you actually do it correctly, ironically enough, investing in a weird sort of way, it actually becomes kind of boring. I'm coming in and taking a shot here, or on that little thing that I just banged out a win on, as sort of an example after the fact. Where the hell's the damn symbol? It's on here somewhere. It should be right in here somewhere. Where are you? There it is. I came in and forced myself to buy here. There's nobody really excited about here. I had to sit there and wait for 6 months while this thing basically did nothing. And I had my open order working to sell half on a double. I actually put that order in like over here. And literally, I wake up one morning and, oh, hey, look at that. I just got filled. Hey, look at that. I got a risk-free position established. No cheerleaders, no fireworks, no CNBC accolades, just making money from trading. That's right. What's the other word, Jim and Liz? You got the first one. Got to have a lot of patience. Now, did I go and like mortgage my life? Take all my money out of the bank and all pile it in here? No. So what's the other word, Jim and Liz? I didn't risk more than 5% of my stake and I just put my money to work in the marketplace, which means that I had the other word. Can anybody help Jim and Liz? What's the other word that goes along with patience? Whoa. Was that Nick says here? I want to see. Well, there's two words, Jim and Liz. One starts with a P, the other starts with a D. And unfortunately, they always say, thank you. Excellent. Good job, Alexa and Ben. Unfortunately, in this space, there's nobody overseeing you. Zonks, nice. Nobody overseeing you. Nobody at all. In fact, Nick here, he says, and was that with regard to what was that guy's name? Raoul Paul or whatever? Irresponsibly long was his motto back then. And oh boy, did he ever take it on the chin. Irresponsibly, and he was irresponsible because he didn't follow the rules of how to play this game. So, patience and discipline. Can you learn those two words? I don't know. Do I have an expectation, that little one that I was just showing you that I just recently bought? Do I have an expectation that this thing's going to go up in an hour and a half? No, absolutely not. I'm just working my book, and you can see where my average cost on this thing is a nickel. And you can be pretty darn assured you know exactly what Brian's going to be doing when price actually trades back to what would be considered a very normal level. 50% retracement. Remember I had made reference to WD Gann earlier? Well, that's him. I heard somebody recently, a financial expert, actually attribute the 50% level to Fibonacci. And the sad part about that is the person obviously was told this by another person, because if you understand fibs, then you understand by definition, you will never have a fib number that's a big fat round number like 50% of the range. It just won't happen. It's impossible because the numbers are all fractional. So I did find it fascinating that and it's one of my pet peeves. I even commented on his video. That's a pet peeve of mine as a guy who's been teaching this for like 10 years and been trading for 40 years. 50% level is WD Gann, not Fibonacci. And then I suppose that person probably ought to take my course, eh? But I don't know. I don't think anybody listens to me anyway. Mind you, you all do. So hey, you're awesome. Nick C says, "Hey Brian, thanks again for your insights. Always a pleasure to hear you talk. Could you please share your opinion on RNDR and ORAI chain? Fundamentally, they seem interesting." Well, I'm not the one to ask about fundamentals in the crypto space. Unless the asset is proof of work and you can actually see what the cost to produce one of these coins, tokens, whatever the hell you want to call them, actually costs. I don't think any of them have any value whatsoever. Zero. It's purely a confidence game. It's kind of like Donald Trump. The only reason why you would be bullish of Mr. Trump and his coin, and especially his wife's coin, I mean, come on. The only reason why you would be even the slightest bit bullish of these is it's a confidence game in them and their shillability, right? Do I think there's any intrinsic value to these? No, I don't think there's any at all. Well, yeah, exactly. You can't use truth and this guy's name in the same sentence. And what's scary about this son of a gun is that he knows this. So what does he go and name his social media platform to con you into believing that he is telling you the truth? Actually, I didn't want to do that. That must be a moving average, right? He names the platform Truth Social. Well, according to who? Is there actually fact checkers? Is there actually some great entity that could actually stand over him and say, "Oh, sorry, sir, you're not telling the truth there. Careful." No, doesn't exist. So when it comes to venture capital, you all must understand. You must understand that you need to approach all of this with a massive grain of salt. It is a Ponzi, and it is more. Ponzi is a tough one, right? Because that implies that there's actually a conspiracy involved. I actually think a lot of people involved in this space, I actually think they have the best intentions. And they have all awesome projects. We're going to change the world with this project. Thought it was interesting. There was a gentleman recently who told us about a project that he's working with. And if you listen to the presentation, it sounds really great. And then after the fact, and this is the great part about students of mine, is they're all jaundiced by default, skeptical. That's probably a better word. And then they actually did a little bit of digging, And they found out that it turns out that there's just a few individuals that basically control the fate of this entire project. And they have discretion to go and change the rules at their leisure. Now, how does that usually work in the game of high finance? And I could understand completely people that I have taught that I respect that are TRI members say, you know what, I'm going to have to take a pass on that one. Too many unknowns, too many question marks. So I would strongly suggest that number one, you're going to have to do your own due diligence. Um, uh, and fundamentals in an unregulated space. Ooh, good luck. uh, SBF is a perfect example of that. That guy was supposed to be smarter than all of us put together. And it turns out it was just a criminal racket. And at the end of the day, it turns out it was a complete Ponzi. So be careful. I can give you my 2 cents on the charts, and I do pretty good at forcing myself to buy against bottom ends of range, sell at top ends of range. And if you employ something like a little old lady strategy and you go and put less than 5% of your stake into any one name and you got like 10, 20 different names, then if one or two of them turn out to be absolute frauds and total crookery, well, your portfolio isn't wiped out. So that's how I'm going to approach this. If you ask me, and like you asked me specifically about fundamentals, and I can't really comment on that. So anyway, back to our story. First one you asked me to look at was RNDR. This is a favorite of one of the TRI principles. So probably it would be better to have him actually speak about fundamentals. I suppose if we think about reload zones, where should I have my money working, or at least my orders, if I want to get involved in this? Actually, yeah, let's just go. Like that. So you can clearly see there's my favorite level. So just on the near term, I definitely like 305 as a level. Also, too, this kind of looks to me to be very harmonic-y. So something along those lines. And since we did less than 50%, I'm thinking BAT, which would be maybe a correction down to 88.6, something like that. And then this would become what they call a potential reversal zone. So if you look down at your indicators and you see that the indicators are not making new lows, but you saw that price was making new lows, right? That's rule number 2. Consider this like trade location, right? If we think about LIX, everybody should know what LIX stands for now. So trade location, if we do come down into here, all right, great. Then we got to look down at our indicators. And if we see prices making lower lows, but the indicators are making higher lows, then we have indicator confirmation. And ideally, you'd love to have some sort of overbought, oversold indicator to give you the message that the indicators are actually starting to say, pay attention. I like to use a heavily modified Williams percentage R indicator that I affectionately call the Willie. And anybody who uses this indicator going forward, nobody else in the world uses it. I'll know completely that it's my indicator. And I used to chastise people for stealing it. I have a feeling that's going to happen a lot going forward here with a lot of the tools that I've built over the years. But people don't really have a problem just saying, fuck it, Brian, you spilled the beans. Now I know your secrets. I'm going to use them to my heart's content, whether you like it or not. Karma begets karma, as they say. Anyway, you could use RSI. You could use stochastics. Stochastics actually is a great oscillator for identifying overbought and oversold. There's a number of different ones. You can use CCI. I mean, these are just names off the top of my head. Point of the matter here is as we go through this procession, when you have location, when you have indicators that are overbought or oversold, when you have indicators going into divergence, a confirmation, it's only at that point that you can give the IC a check mark like this. And then we can move on to hunting a structure. But we don't even have trade location. So we're not even at the point where you can even see any of this. This is all blacked out. Right now, we're just sitting at, do we have good trade location? And I would argue, no, that's not a good trade location. It's interesting to see that we are trying to break this downtrend line. And my old adage, and if anything, I would actually like to see this thing sort of walk its way down this trend line and then go after we get into acceptable trade location. So as this image is right now here, I don't think I'd have any reason to be like enthusiastically bullish. Maybe if you're lucky, and that would be, especially with something like PRZ down in the reload zone against lows, this is what I would consider the value trade. So from a technician's perspective, anytime you can force yourself to come in at the bottom end of ranges, I call that the value trade. Now, there is a possibility that this could be, well, that's the bottom and we go up from here. So since we can't really hunt value, this is a terrible location for value. What is the other type of trade setup that I like to trade? And that is 2 words. Let's see if anybody can help me here. If I'm not hunting the value trade, what am I hunting? Yeah, very good, Alexa, right? Momentum. So how do I trade momentum? That is this image, right? This is a momentum trade. This is not value. I can absolutely guarantee you that. And also, too, excellent trend continuation. Yeah, and oh geez, how do you pronounce that? Gruia. Hopefully, I didn't butcher your name. Sorry. You're right. The bot is the setup that I use. That's what I use. But when I just go out, like if I was interviewed by CNBC, I wouldn't say, "Oh, trade the bot," because they don't have any idea what the hell that means. So I would say things like, "Well, we're gonna momentum trade this, or we're going to trend continuation." That's another sort of polite way to say momentum. So that means we're going to change this to, has the market corrected at least 33%? And I like to use the 33 and 66 because if it hasn't corrected at least that 33, and we all know, of course, let's see if you do know, what level is it that we should consider the market should trade back to at any given point in time? Any given point in time, it should do this, and you should expect this. Anyone? What number am I thinking in my head? I don't know how that delay. Oh, isn't that weird? Now the video is completely cut out on my end. All I see is the intro piece. Wow, isn't that bizarre? It says waiting for the rational investor on my screen right now. How screwy is that? 38.2 Constantine PTR. You guys are awesome. It's great to hear that I'm getting the message through. So at any given point in time, you should expect 38.2s. Like that's just naturally what should happen in markets. And oh, what a big surprise. It dumped right into 38.2s. That's just what should happen. So if you don't even get that pullback to 38.2s, then you don't even know whether this up move is even done yet. We might just keep grinding our way higher. Like here, this, for example, that high there, all we did was we came back to 33%, but then we just kept going. So you don't even know whether that's even really a top. And the one thing you should expect at any given point in time is 38.2s, and then watch how the market acts off of that 38.2 tag. What a surprise, we rallied back up. Candle body highs for trade location. Wicks and tails, all these trap bulls up here want to get out, right? You know how all this goes. And then we roll over. So you have to get at least that 33% pullback. If you're thinking trend continuation, You have to get at least that 33% pullback to understand, okay, now, maybe this market is trending and, it's the next best thing since sliced bread, but we can't really just go and buy runaway markets, right? You're not allowed to just go and buy up markets like this, because if you bought right into there a week or two later, you feel like a total idiot. So, so criteria one, we want to see at least that 33% correction, and we really don't want to see the market go beyond 66 if you're thinking trend continuation. Because if it does go beyond 66, then maybe all this is a trading range, and you're going to come in and buy value against the bottom end of range, and you have no idea. Maybe this thing's just going to sit here and just go back and forth in a trading range. That's what ranges usually do. So no more than 66, but we got to do at least 33. All right, well, we did that. That's cool. We also hit Mountain Man. Hey, Mountain Man for the win. At this point now, what I want to see is information from the market that, yeah, actually, we've got a base here that we can realistically risk against. And then also, too, since we did the 33, but we didn't go beyond 66, maybe this is a harmonic pattern. Maybe we're not going to do a bat or a Gartley or a crab or something along those lines, which are all trading range harmonics. Maybe we're actually going to do that trend continuation idea. So we're going to go A to B, boosh, and maybe after this consolidation, whatever it is, maybe what the market is really telling us that it actually wants to push up top here. So kind of like A to B. And remember, markets always like to move in sort of a stair step fashion. They very rarely ever just go straight up indefinitely. Usually there's a big move, and then, smart money's buying bottoms of the market. They're selling tops of markets. And you could also argue too, it does make sense why this market stalled out where it did, because, oh, what a surprise. That's right into a reload short zone. And all these trap bulls, especially these poor fools in here, as soon as price gets up into there, man, they're getting the hell out. And look at that, price couldn't even get up into them. So there's still a ton of trap bulls all in these wicks up here. Anyway, on with our story. How do I define that? All right, we are now consolidating, and we've actually set a base for me to take a realistic shot against. I'm a chicken by definition, which sucks. I mean, it's just the way that it is. I know a lot of people like to just trade W's, down, up, down, breakout. But for me to feel like this is a really solid base, what I'd really like to see is down, up, down, breakout. So I actually have these guys defending my trade. I'll put my stop loss down here. These guys will defend my trade because this high should be slightly higher than that. Or excuse me, this low should be slightly higher than that low. And I have these guys defending my trade. So I've got like 3 different camps that have all believed, and they stopped the down move and started it back up. Stop the down move, started back up. Stop the down move, started back up. Kind of like what you're seeing out of Bitcoin right here. 1, 2, 3. Each of these times, sellers got exhausted and the bulls stepped in and took over. So I'm going to risk this pattern, those 3 higher lows. These people are going to defend my trade, and I'm going to put my stop loss just below this level. So interestingly enough, when you do that and you break this pattern into quarters so that I can have a realistic $3 of reward for $1 of risk. And remember, that's the ultimate goal of this. So we want to make sure whenever we risk our hard-earned money that if we're right, we get paid substantially more than if we're wrong. And you would like that to be multiples. So I'm going to break this potential CD leg into quarters. So that's what this bought trade mechanism is. And of course, by default, it's always Beckett's. So we got to go in there and where is it? Here, reverse it. And now you can see the market actually not really a big surprise off of this primary trend line. You can see there's a bit of a battle going on right at this level here. As well, too, you can see moving averages are coming in, acting as resistance. I've got one low, market rallied away. I've got a second low, so there is a W there. Now I want to see that third low. Now, ideally, we want the trade to just look absolutely pristine, but this isn't an ideal world. Ideally, ultimately pristine, I'd actually like to see this third low come in, and then in this particular case, actually make a fourth low and give me some sort of W on the other side of this trend line. And this would probably be a really good example of price risk versus information risk. So some people, like, I used to work with probably what I would consider one of the best futures traders I've ever seen in my life, and I've been around a while. And this guy, he used to just religiously trade 61.8 fibs. And you can see him coming in here. It's my level, and he buys there. Looks like a genius, right? We call that, and I always get this backwards. So if I get it backwards, just bear with me. But Mountain Man here, right? He is taking information risk. He's got a great price, but he doesn't have much information about whether this is a bull or not. In fact, it kind of looks like a bear, but he loves his levels, right? Buying against the original structural bottom. This person over here that wants more information from the market. I want as much information from the market telling me that this is a bull. Waiting for W's on other sides of trend line is a really good example of that, where I am foregoing the great price level, but I'm waiting for information to tell me that this actually looks pretty damn good. So, it's not like there's a right way or a wrong way to do this. And that's probably the biggest failing that I see on the internet and people trying to teach other people how to trade. It's not like it's a right or wrong. It's really a question of what's your personal sort of risk appetite? How much stress can you take? How much anxiety will you incur if you go in and blindly buy Mountain Man's level here and you see at some point he was looking like, oh, that wasn't a very smart idea. And then instantly the damn thing snaps back. But if you're relatively new to this game, to train yourself to be able to come in and just buy Mountain there, that is damn difficult, and you will be riddled with anxiety. There's some people who can do it and they're just like, no big deal. I'll risk, $10, whatever on this thing. And if it goes through that level, then I'll just get stopped out. No big deal. But a lot of the times, exactly what you see here happens. But it's not like there's a right or wrong. It's just really most new people to trading. What I've found is what usually kills them is their uncertainty. They're just, I don't know what's going to happen. Some guy's telling me to follow this squiggly line, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. And that's dangerous because trade could go against you. And then remember, many short-term trade, Mr. Irresponsibly Long had to sit there and absolutely die 1,000 deaths because he chased up markets, right? It's my opinion, this is going to go higher. From a technician's perspective, this is absolutely a horrible place to be a buyer. But that guy doesn't really know technical analysis. That's fine. It's the way it goes. So, point of the matter here, you're asking me what's going to happen here with render in the near term? I don't know. And I don't think anybody does. Don't get into the business of predicting the future. But if this is a momentum setup for a guy like me, what I want to see, and frankly speaking, I don't even really like the way this looks. This looks suspicious to me because you could make the argument that a counter trend rally up against these highs might actually set up a short. where reload zones are going to stop that bull in its tracks. There's Brian's favorite fib right up there. Remember, I said earlier about all these trap bulls in here that would desperately like to get out. If this thing just popped right up into this area, you can see, according to the bot setup, had I just bought that level, because hell, I got a W there. Maybe I front run this trade. Who knows? But if I just go and buy the bot here now and it does hit this level, you can see it says move stop to scratch at half of the anticipated move. So if it does run up into that level, then that means if it backs off into here, I actually have to walk away from the trade. So I really don't actually like the way that this is setting up. And you could also make the argument too that there's another downtrend line at work here right there. Also too, we bang up into here. For me to have my ultimate sexy setup, I want to see W's on other sides of trend line. So the fact that we have this W or this trend line here, that's valid because we went through that low. That means this is going to be really tacky. And looking at this chart, I have no reason to be doing anything here right now. And the value investor in here, in me, would say, well, really, I'm a cheap ass. I would prefer to come in and buy that level there, $3.05. So that's my feedback for you on RNDR. Hope you enjoyed that. I don't know whether there was any value on that or not, but what the hell? I just told you my 2 cents. ORAI. What the hell is this? Or a chain? I have no idea how to pronounce that. All these DeFi names. Oh boy. I guess you can look at it almost anywhere here. Is it no centralized exchanges that way? I got these crazy Korean exchanges. Yeah, interesting. You can clearly see we have a trading range, right? Whoop and whoop. So, we are also, this is the KuCoin story. I don't know whether there's any lower price action here going back over time, but that does kind of look like the bottom end of range. So, little old ladies, I wouldn't have a problem with you coming in here. Interesting how they did paint some cute little W's right down in there, and I suppose there, maybe there, but that's getting a little expensive. Hopefully, you can all see that if you had forced yourself to come in and acquire through this reload zone and even tagged 78.6, maybe you bought the W's, whatever. You should have gotten a double off there. So that's like what, 5, 6, 7. Should it surprise us that this thing topped out 14, $15? That's almost exactly the double of that level there. So probably a lot of people were doing exactly that on that move. Do we have any W's here yet? Interestingly enough, it's kind of sloppy, eh? But I suppose that's a sloppy W, but interesting level. 2.5. Did we get up to 5? Oh, look at that. We got up to 4.5, and then it stalled back out. Did we go through these lows? We didn't go through those lows. So that's encouraging. Could be a very wide W here trying to form. And then actually, I love when I see this. This is a W within a W trying to form. But interesting how these lows, they don't really look very clean as W's go. I'm a little bit leery about going and buying a W like this as a trade, quote unquote, because you got to risk all the way down to here. So if I buy at 357, I have to risk down to $2. There is a very specific risk taker in the education material that I impart on people that would sort of articulate what type of risk taker should take this trade. Obviously, little old ladies, there's no problem there. Just don't go and put more than 5% of your stake into this idea. You could be nibbling away here as long as it's around the bottom end of the range. I'm fine with that. Trending signals, I need more information to tell me that this thing has turned the corner. So you can see we broke out through the trend line here. We pulled back. Can I please get some sort of W here? And I don't like it when part of the W is on the other side of this trend line. Usually that's a trap. So what I need to believe that this is actually, this floor is for real, is just pull back against these lows, then turn back so we get our nice W on the other side of this trend line. So as it stands right now on this guy, I love the valuation. This is definitely an example of value investing, technically speaking, coming in against the bottom end of the range. I can't speak about fundamentals. I just don't know the story. I'm sorry, folks. But technically speaking, I think you're not walking into a trap like idiots who chase these up markets. So I think you're doing okay here. Technically, is this actually a buy right at the moment? Not yet. If you want to come in here, I think if you're going to risk this W, and like I said, I would prefer there actually be another W over here, then Joe six-pack kind of trade. Gonna have to risk 50% of your capital. That's an awfully big window. In fact, that's about what is that? That's $1.50 of 350. So that's what, 33% risk? Yeah, it's a bit much. And in the near term here, if it does break out through there, okay, fine. You know, you're like, I love this name fundamentally, I'll go ahead and buy. But you got a risk to a break of these lows. And frankly speaking, if you really want to know what the primary trend line is here, it's not confirmed yet. You'd have to get the market to trade up here to confirm it. But I think there's this potential trend line working. So, you know, this is why I think probably best to wait for some WE action. I don't even know whether this sell-off is even done yet. Still looks to me like it's got a little bit to go. And I suppose if we talk harmonics, right, this does look very batty. So that's something like there to there to there, which means we should, oh, what a surprise. You know, this number should be like 88.6. And let's see, 88.5. Well, I'm getting pretty good at eyeballing this, eh? So 88.6 is, oh, you get the idea. It's down in there somewhere. So I actually like the idea of this thing coming back and trading back to that trend line. And we don't even know. This thing might just have to melt back down. Like if you did a chaos theory off of this high here, back to that low, it would be scary if like 2.618s are down here. Chaos. Boosh. Oh. All right. So you're starting to see where the value trade for Brian is somewhere down here against this trend line. It's a potential trend line, not valid, not confirmed. Harmonically speaking, I like a dip down into that area. And also, too, keep in mind, this is a V bottom. V bottoms, by definition, should be tested. This might be what they call an Adam and Eve. So that would be the Adam. And what you'd ideally like to see is a nice Eve over here. So hopefully you can understand an anatomically Adam Eve. That would be the best scenario. Right now, there's nothing for a guy like me to do here right now. Well, hopefully that helps speak to that, Nick. What do you think? Did you get your money's worth here today? Considering you didn't have to pay anything for this, I think you got your money's worth. And of course, you'll value the information based on how much you just had to pay for that. That's how this always works. Omar says, thoughts on Chainlink? Actually, I'm coming up into another double level for me on Chainlink. Interesting. Why is everything capitalized? Oh, well. Well, that didn't work. Like, what time is it? Do we have any questions in the Q&A document, Chris? All right. One. Anyway, let's go look at this chain link. Yeah, man. Back in 2022, 2023, I was trying to trade these things on through DeFi, which is a fucking nightmare. I tell you, it's so much easier for a guy like me just to have a futures exchange. Buy, sell buttons, pretty straightforward. Enter stops. You know, if you market trades a tick above or below your order, you're guaranteed to fill. This crazy crypto space. It's like crack. I think you can see what I was thinking off of this chart previously. I actually did really like a buy, but I don't think I bought any more of this guy. I sold a couple doubles on this move up here, and actually you probably see that better on the Kraken name. What the hell is that thing? It's on here somewhere. I actually did want to buy some more, but I just never got around to it. All right, so you can see I did one shot right here. That's that there. I did another shot up here. So I've already made a lot of money on this thing. Was I lazy in that I didn't reload on the stab back down into these levels? You can even say, see, well, I guess it was on the other one. I had set alerts and all that. I guess this doesn't show, but I was thinking about, in fact, yeah, I had a bid working to buy it back against this tail here, but it never came down into that level. Oh, what a surprise. It stopped at my 78.6. um, I think as you can see, I was previously, and this kind of scares me here because this is a good example of it breaking through the trend line, not really putting in a clean W here. This is really splotchy. I don't know. I mean, it's rallying. It's rallied back up against its range. I suppose it does have a huge fog and bomb working here. Could I go and buy that there right now? Absolutely not. No way. No way, Jose. And if anything, what I would think is this is actually just like what we talked about here. This trend line now has been confirmed because of market structure through the move through that level there. I would think that if I wanted to be a buyer of this thing, I think I probably got to be thinking somewhere in this area here. So it might just keep going higher and higher and higher and no, daddy, higher and higher. That's for Ed out there in the world. Um, but I'm not overly impressed with the way that this is set up here. It's probably not my bag of tea. I do like though. We could probably do chaos levels, and my hunch is there's probably like a 1.618 right up in this area, and that explains why that's stalled out there. So survey says, hey, look at that. We're getting pretty good at predicting this shit. So not a big surprise why it stalled out where it has. And also, too, you could probably make the argument that that is, well, let's see what it is. Where's the high? Is that the high? Something like that. Reload zones. Boom. Mountain Man. Oh, boy. So a lot of traffic up in here. Be careful. That's a tough one. Where's that coming from? Oh, that's this one over here. Oh, interesting. So yeah, what a beautiful analogy of these 1.618s. Eh? Actually, we never even did get up there. Tag the 50% level of the entire range. So this does make sense now what's going on. I guess this was one of my do we yeah, I guess I got that fill there. That's what this notation is. Just so you see, I'm not bullshitting you. There it is there, 2970. So must have gotten filled right in there. Did it get to him? Maybe it never even got there. That'd be funny if this I thought it says shod filled 2925. Interesting. Well, let's go see. Maybe and you know, or you probably should have is just orders working. What the hell is the name of this? RNDR. No, it isn't. This is something completely different. This is LINK. There we go. Maybe I should get another order working. Let's see. These are all the closed trades from forever ago. Well, let's see. Did I buy? I don't think I bought anymore. I don't remember buying. There's that funny hippopotamus coin. This is called Link, right? It's gonna be in here somewhere. There you are. It's the last sell. Yeah, look at that. We got filled 29.70. Yay. So I don't really need to be doing any more selling on this thing until we get up to, I guess, better part of $60. Hey, look at that third shot order working. So I suppose all of you bulls, yeah, holy shit. Oh, that's where he's expecting it to go. I'm not expecting it to go there. But if the market, and my old adage is, if you want my coins, you know exactly where to find me. So if they want more of my coins, well, I'm more than happy to let them have some more up top here. But would I do anything here on this right now? No. And where I first got involved in this space, and you can see long from, this was originally where I did this on the ledger, trying to do this through DeFi. What a joke. That's where I originally bought this thing. Exactly where you're supposed to buy this stuff. Probably if we did what do you think the odds are? That's like 78.6 off of that range. They're probably pretty good. Oh, actually, look at that. I even got cheaper off of 88.6. Oh, Brian, you sexy dog. So, if you can force yourself to come in at the bottom ends of ranges, good things happen. So, anyway, so I never did reload on this. I could have. You see the 78.6 level. It's not rocket science. It just did slip my mind. I mean, you see how many different names I have going here. So that's my 2 cents there. Omar, what do you think? Was there any value in that? Sure, hope so. Got actually, there's one question in the Q&A document, so let's just go and answer that. It's about 5 minutes after 1. Of course, you all know I got to be with Lily here in about 1 hour, which means I have to leave here in about a half an hour. Okay. Hi, Brian. Can you explain how you interpret the 26 peak shown on the Benner cycle chart? Does this mean the crypto cycle should peak in 26 instead of 25? I keep hearing certain crypto influencers saying this crypto cycle will extend into the fall of 26. Whoa, I don't know about that. Instead of topping in the fourth quarter of 25. What is your opinion on this? Well, that's a perfectly good question. And remember, everybody, this is so important. The one thing in this world that we have in the West, and we're losing it every fucking day, which pisses me off, but we have the freedom to make our own choices. I can't tell you how incredibly valuable that is. We'll do the daily brief request in the call behind the paywall tomorrow, Omar. Now, what do you think? And just use the initials. Nobody's allowed to say this goddamn full expression. If you do, then you just killed the bull market. But just say the 4 initials. What do you think people are going to say at the very top of the market to justify the market continuing through these very predictable 4-year cycles? And just say the initials. Don't say the damn words. Look at this. Spring, summer, fall, winter. Spring, summer, fall, winter. Thank you. So to the person who asked this question, it is completely understandable that I don't know what IDTT stands for, Laura. I'm almost afraid to ask. Don't type it. Just don't type the words. I don't want to see the words. But just understand that that's actually the hallmark of the top of these cycles. Every damn cycle, somebody comes out and says, well, no, this market isn't going to go down now because this is so, but what I said there earlier, I can't stress this enough, folks. I really can't. This is what makes our Western civilization so beautiful. We're so fucking lucky. Because I can absolutely guarantee you, over there in fucking Winnie the Pooh, China shithead land, you're not allowed to have an opinion. You're just not. And if you don't have the same opinion as some higher up, you literally will get murdered and it will be completely legal. Do you think if you have an opinion that's counter to Vladimir Dickhead Putin, do you think you're going to survive in communist Russia? And yeah, it's actually not communist, fascist Russia now. Russia's literally turned into a fascist state. So I'm not going to criticize somebody for having an opinion. That's perfectly fine. And it's what makes a market. Somebody's on the bid, somebody's on the offer. Now, you tell me, in this kind of scenario where we are right here, is Brian going to be on the bid or is Brian going to be on the offer? Anybody? It's a pretty simple question. I don't know how delayed this stupid YouTube thing is now these days. But anyway, the simple answer I'm looking for is based on what I just heard you say over the past hour or two, Brian's going to be on the offer. I can't buy that asset there. I will be offering my coins. And if you want my coins, you know exactly where to find me. All right. Thank you, Jim and Liz. And that's about the end of the conversation. Now, keep in mind, I'm not in the business to predict where the top's coming in. It's just I can't be a buyer. And I have some crazy ass Bitcoin studies, and this is based purely off a logarithmic price action. But I have some Bitcoin studies that say this thing could go up quite a bit higher than where we are right now. You see those numbers. They've been on the screen for like years now. They've never moved. So it's another cryptocurrency. That's a nice, simple answer for you there, Ali. And of course, what a surprise. The public, of course, is coming all in on the bull side. And that's fine. Let them be a bull. Totally fine by me. The little one that I sold today. You guys tell me, did I sell everything of this? Do I ever sell everything of anything? I never sell everything. Why? Because I'm not in the business of predicting the top. This thing might go 10x from here. And if it does go 10x from here, fine by me. I'll just keep selling you more coins as they keep taking this higher. Yeah, a really great example of that was this Blink charging. I think I even showed you. I don't even think they have warrants anymore. Nope, they're gone. But I showed you. Actually, wait a minute. That's not even what I want to do here. Stocks. That's what I want. Blink. No, they didn't even bother reissuing warrants. They're like, we don't want that Beamish guy to steal all our money. But, nobody expected Joe Biden, of course, to fall in love with fucking EVs and all that nonsense. But did anybody expect this to happen where the darn thing goes from basically nothing to $60 a share? And I was just sell, have on double, sell, have on a double, sell, have on a double, the whole damn way up. Nobody could have predicted that. But don't put yourself into a position where you're predicting what's going to happen. Just react. And the great part about sell half on a double is sometimes this happens and you can bang out huge wins. So my answer directly to you with regard to, is this cycle going to top out in October 2025? The only confidence that I have on that thesis is that I believe Bitcoin will see some sort of cycle pivot here through the latter part of October of this year. So that's actually coming back to this image. It's fascinating. We have a lunar and solar eclipse coming up here. You see how the market acts really screwy through these events. Here was the lunar and solar eclipse back in the fall or spring. And my hunch here is that this is actually going to be some sort of really screwy event. And then we're going to get some really, really bizarre price action on the other side of this eclipse event. But I think this is a trap. And I think they're going to take the market higher. They're going to, this is going to be, you must own Bitcoin. Screw Beamish and his cycles. This time, I'm not even going to say it. And ironically enough, as soon as I hear that kind of talk, then that is clearly yep, okay, the cycle's over. It's time for me to walk away. Does the altcoin market, which isn't really based on the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, does this screw around? And you can see how this last top came in here. There were head fakes. Could we do something like this in the entire crypto space over the course of the next 6-8 months? Absolutely. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. So I'm not here sitting, all right, saying, all right, as of October 20th, whatever this happens to be, October 13th, it's because a weekly chart. I'm selling everything and getting out today. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm just simply saying is, number one, I cannot be a buyer heading into this event. I mean, maybe if I see a little shit coin that's breaking out on heavy volume, I might just go and pick some up. But I certainly can't buy Bitcoins here, and there's no way in hell I'd do that. You all know that if we get up into this area, I will be a net seller of Bitcoins. And the market's just going to do whatever the hell the market wants to do. It's just you have to understand that once we get on the other side of this, all the headwinds are actually against you, not for you. And ironically enough, I mean, October 20th, that's still 2 months away. Maybe we see, that's not where I want. I guess it was over here. Maybe we see that Litecoin up at $60, $70 into that event. All right, well, maybe we see this ENA. I mean, you could make the argument that if we do break out through this high, you want to see some absolutely insane numbers. And there's no reason why this thing couldn't go 877s are usually blow off tops. I don't know what the fuck the future is going to look like. That's not my job. And I'm not here to predict the future. But if this thing breaks out on a big piss pot full of hot air and, they reinvented the wheel, well, 877s are usually the blow off top. That's all the way up at $10. I don't know. Might happen. In this kind of environment, at the end of these cycles, this kind of crazy shit does happen. But it's not my job to predict what's going to happen. My job is to put myself into a position where I bought when all of the public wasn't even the slightest bit interested. And then as the market affords me the opportunity to pay myself for my hard work, I need to execute. And that's my response to you, Michael. If anything, I would expect the shitcoin market, all this Solana stuff, all the Ethereum talk, anything that is not a POW coin, there's no telling where the hell the circle jerk takes this market. But at the same time, too, just be damn careful. It's your hard-earned money. And I mean, probably to finish off this conversation, what are the 2 words that I tell all of you? Let's see if anybody can remember. What are the 2 rules that I tell? 2 words. One of them is a contraction. So kind of maybe even 3 words. What do I tell you if you see a chart that looks like this? See if anybody can read my mind here. What are you not supposed to do when you see prices moving up like this? When I lost Jim and Liz, I know they would help me. Can anybody help me? What are the 2 words that I'm thinking? Thank you, Nick. You're so damn smart. Not a big surprise. Excellent. M Crypto M. Oh, I think I've seen that name before. Elevorn. Nice. Music, excellent, good. Well, the message is getting through. So, could the market move up further following October? Sure, the market will do any old damn thing it wants. If I see a market going parabolic, and I don't know, let's say Bitcoin does this, Do I have any business coming in on the buy side in through that environment? I mean, one could argue, right? Just think, I remember trend continuation trades. Do we have a bot setup? Oh, look at that. We did 33%. So maybe this thing wants to go here. And then what's really cool about alt ABCDs, which can sometimes make you a lot of money, is sometimes the alt ABCD bought objective, that's not the top. It turns out that actually we might go all the way up here. It's not my job to tell you that the market's going to stop here, but it is definitely my job that if I had bought this little double bottom breakout here, that I got to be paying myself, because we might be like March of 2026 up in here. And I look at this and I go, my God, people are actually buying this up here. What are you, crazy? But of course, it's not that they're crazy, it's that they're stupid. Another way that actually, and my apologies if that was a bit abrasive, but Brian, salty old gnarly guy. One really handy tool that I built years ago, and I even told you about this, my Willie indicator. It will just simply tell me, Brian, you are not allowed to buy this asset until it gets out of that zone. Notice how it came back down here, put in W's. We're not stupidly overbought. Hell, we're not even stupid now. So this thing could still move higher, but once that goes stupid, I got no business being on the buy side. If anything, I'm asking for trouble. So, I'm not going to put a stopwatch and say the market will stop rallying today. I don't really like that approach because sometimes markets will do things that we all sit here and go, wow, nobody expected that. I just want to put myself into a position that if they do decide to take this thing higher, I've always got a little bit left on the books and I've got my next sell have on double orders working, and wherever the hell they want to take this is where they take it. So that's my specific answer. I hope that speaks to your question, Michael. Good question, very good question. And if anything, we should expect at the top of these cycles and at the top of these markets that you will hear people say, no, no, no. What is it? TTID. Don't type out those damn words. Because as soon as I hear somebody say that with all earnestness, I know the bull market's over. It's not necessarily that the market's going to top that day and collapse. In fact, it'll probably even gyrate a bit more, but I know that that's the end of the cycle because this stuff never changes. It's always the same. So anyway, I hope that helps all of you. Somebody asked me to look at Litecoin. We'll do that, and then I will head on my way. So just looking at this chart should be really straightforward. Can Brian buy an asset there? No. Where should Brian have bought Litecoin if he was so inclined? Come on, you. It's so frustrating with this thing. There. Let's go like there and like there. And you can see clearly where you should have been buyers of Litecoins. Oh, right down in that window. And you know what I absolutely love if you're learning how to trade? I love when you get reload zones within reload zones. Oh, sexy, sexy. So notice how this dip right here, that's like overlapping reload zones. Oh my goodness, so sexy. Right in there. That's a tough trade for new traders to take. And hell, buying that 78.6, tough trade for new traders to take. And then also too, you could make the argument downtrend line. Where's the W on the other side of the downtrend line? I don't think it actually came in until like over here. So anywhere down in these green boxes, I'm more than happy with you buying. But there, no, sorry, you're late. You missed it. What's scary about this guy is even though price is making higher highs, notice, oh, what a coincidence. We're right up against Julian's chaos level there. But notice there's something suspicious going on here. Look how we're making higher highs in price, but momentum is not making higher highs. Uh-oh, that's not a good sign. Also, too, look at volume. You can see how volume, the actual raw buying, they're kind of backing off here. The sellers haven't come out in earnest yet, so that's why OBV is still looking uppy. But there is some anecdotal evidence that this is looking a little tired. So there's another sign of divergence. We don't quite have Willie stupid, but notice Willie did get stupid through here and price had to come off. Willie right now minus 26. Willie gets stupid when it's less than minus 20. So right there, stupid. Here, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this plays around, but the fact that it's stalling out at this 1.618 kind of leads me to believe it's getting a little tired here. So this also too, sadly enough, there to there. Oh yeah, this could actually be a Gartley. And remember, I was talking harmonics earlier. I love harmonics. So Gartley would be 78.6, somewhere in that area. So I'm not calling a top, but if we did top out here, it wouldn't surprise me. So can I come in on the buy side on Litecoin here? Absolutely not. No, not even remote. Would I be inclined to be a seller? I suppose if I bought at 80, I should probably at the very least have some sell orders working up at this 2.618, double my purchase price. Right now, I think this is in no man's land. It's too expensive to buy, probably too cheap to sell. Unless, of course, I actually did get signs that, think licks. We are definitely in trade location, but I look down at my indicators. Willie's not stupid. Divs are forming, but they're not confirmed. So right now, if I was thinking top, then we've got the L. We do not have I. Willie's not stupid yet, so we have a check mark here, but that's as far as we can go. And we don't have any indicator confirmation that this is broken. Right now, all we have is location. So that's about the best I can do for Litecoin. Okay, 25 minutes past the hour, so I think that's probably good for today. I hope you guys got some value out of all that. Slow and steady wins the race. Recording ends in 2 minutes, so if anything, good timing for me to wind this up. Sure hope you enjoyed the offering. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, I suppose, if you'd like. Maybe if you actually want to learn how to become an actual trader and running a small business of trading, maybe consider joining TRI's education program. All you level 3ers and beyond, this will be the last time I'll be teaching the level 3 at TRI. So if you wanted to do a refresher, not a bad idea to pop in and pay the couple $100 to participate. This will be the last time I'll be teaching the level 3 at TRI. And if you've done the TRI education programs and understand the basics of all my teaching and want some professional coaching in the new year, I will be working with 10 people individually on my own for 1 full year straight. Because I always say you never know a job until you've done it for 1 full year. That list is filling up. So if you are interested in that one-on-one coaching business that I'll be doing in the new year, it is predicated on you finishing the basic TRI education program, level 1 kind of idea. And since I'm not going to be doing the level 3 at TRI in the future or any teaching at TRI, and you want to work with me individually, reach out and I'll add you to the list. And sadly, it's not going to be cheap. Market rates for that service. So unless you're dealing with some sizable assets, probably the best thing for you to do is just stick with the basic education program and work away on your own. But you can always tune into these programs and see if you can ask me questions. And I'll be doing these again in the new year as well on my own. So I think we'll probably leave it at that for today. Also too, I want to move away from Alan's platform, and I was supposed to have moved away by last December, but of course Brian's slow as a sloth. So I do have a new private social media channel up and running. Not going to be really sharing it with the public too much. But if you are a TRIOGer, which most of you people who watch this channel, and you would like to, this particular social media platform actually gives me the ability to write fairly lengthy posts, unlike Alan, who charges you a fee, cocksucker, and he's constantly trying to get me to pay his stupid fees. I have a funny feeling his business model's in trouble. I see like massive discounts to sign up for his stupid idiot crap. So if you are interested in that private social media channel, just reach out to me, DM me on the site or DM me through Twitter or whatever, and I can give you that private social media channel. And I actually really like how that's developing, and I'll probably do most of my posts and rants and stuff there. So you've got that to chew on as well. So anyway, hope I made a positive impression on all of you today. Hopefully, make a positive difference in this world. That's the whole point of all of this. And you feel as though the time spent was worth it. So wish us on the luck. Thank you very much, Constantine. Wishing Liam and I on a bunch of luck there on the roads today. I don't know whether you saw the employment situation in my country, but this place is going to hell in a handbasket. And I know for certain now there are a ton of turbans running around the lower mainland here who have no jobs, no prospect for future. And I think life in the lower mainland here is going to get really interesting with all
Recording
of these unemployed
stopped.
turbans running around. I wish us luck. I have a feeling life's going to get quite challenging here in the lower mainland. So please, best wishes for Lily and I. Try and convince the Beamish to try and watch his P's and Q's while dealing with all these immigrants that have no prospects for work. This place is hyper expensive. And frankly speaking, I think the future for them is extremely bleak. I don't know whether you saw the Canadian employment numbers, but wow. Oh boy, it's going to be a tough slog. So anyway, wish us luck on the road. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. Try not to take any wooden nickels. And when they say TTID, that is the wooden nickel shit. So be careful with your hard-earned money, folks. Slow and steady wins the race. Hugs and kisses. The only thing left to say to you good people is a hearty bye for now.